So I'll take you back to this video that inspired me, and I would like to show it to the viewers first, because this is the video that, brought up the spirits of the Luo in me that got me running.
Intenedi ng'ato winjo miachiel Thoniero East Farmer sauti okoromo adek medo mawuor ng'at medo mantie Uganda kanchiel kod piny mawoko wafuswa mar piny juotan ikag mafaidh Padola anocheng okoth Olunga watel gi chwach machakom.
After watching this video, the desire to trace the Luo history started flowing in me like a river. And then the river led me to the source.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the one and only
Ocheng Okoth Olunga.
Ocheng Okoth Olunga. Was this a recording from a radio station? Were you working at a radio station as a journalist?
I was working at East FM, reporter and a news anchor. Now, when I joined East FM, I'm just going to give you a short story about my getting to East FM. When I joined there, I came in as an anchor of English news. But I felt there was something missing. I said, why don't I do Padola? Why don't I do news in the Padola language so that I create a difference? When I was young, I used to listen to these anchors of the Padola news and I didn't like them. My grandfather used to give me a radio and I used to tell him, now, what are these guys reading? Are they talking to themselves? Are they conversing with someone? Are they reading news? Grandfather, excuse me, is this news? And it was like, you man, you are a young man and tomorrow somebody will ask you also. So do you think it's easy? I told him, just give me time. I am going to be the best on earth in reading the Padola news. I told my grandfather and he laughed. So when I came there, those people told me, okay, come and do English news. I said, no, just give me time. Test me. Give me 2 weeks. I want to do the Padola. And believe me, nobody will have ever done the Padola news in Uganda the way I'm going to do for you. And they were like, what? You try. They couldn't believe. I just believed it myself. When I tried 1 week, everybody came looking for Olunga. Who is this Okoth Olunga? Who is this Okoth Olunga? Who is he? Who is he? So I did. And I hyped it. I brought in what to call flowery words. Put a bit of idioms, put a bit of similes, put a bit of proverbs, agecha. There's what you call them in Luo there. I've forgotten. But
Ngeche.
agecha, how do you call proverbs in Luo?
Ngeche.
It is Ngeche. It is, this way is agecha. So I put up those, I spice up them and everybody wants to listen. Then as I wind up my news, I put what we call words of wisdom. Leave the agecha, but there are those wise sayings that can inspire someone. I summarize with that.
So
Yes.
That's
how, so I said, this is a good content. I went on hiring videographers, people who cover video. 9 p.m., I walk inside with those people, and my colleagues thought maybe I was now presenting on a TV or doing what, but I was just doing it. I said, I have to put 1 or 2 videos on YouTube so that in future something can happen. And indeed it has happened. You've come.
And here's the future. Yeah.
So I did that, and after doing it, the video went so much viral. So I went deep. I started doing documentaries, go to the villages, go to where I was. By the way, we even had Maasai here who were fighting Padola.
Oh.
Even there's a place where the Padola buried the Maasai. We call them Josewe in Luo of here. Where Josewe buried, I made a documentary. Where Adola separated with the wing, who went to Kenya, I covered there. Where he was buried, many people don't know. I covered that one. And I put them in YouTube.
Very important. You're the best person so far in the Luo world because you brought up that one video that got me running. So could you tell me what is Padola?
Padola means place. Pa is place. Place of Adola. Padola was the son of, I am just going to break it. I am not going to go so much deep. The history that you people are taught and the history that I was also taught in P4, P5, even in secondary, they lied to me that Padola was the son of Olum. Then they say Owiny was also the son of Olum. And yet Olum was just a brother of both Owiny and Padola. The father of Padola was called Chwa. Chwa the second. You could call him Ole. Ole the Great. Why do we call him Ole the Great? Because when the Luos were living in Barel Gazelle, for 20 years, no any Luo was allowed to slaughter an animal. The domestic. If you wanted meat, you go bush.
You hunt.
Yes, you go hunt. So they were just using game meat for survival. Why did he do that? Because animals had died during the drought, during the movements, when they were coming from Egypt crossing. For your own information, the laws came from Egypt, but nobody will tell you that. When you're taught, they will always tell you it is Sudan. Excuse me, Sudan came in 1900 here. I think it was 1910. That's when the Europeans divided that place because it was so large. Before Sudan, the place was Egypt.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a
Now,
question.
yes, you have a question?
There are two hypotheses at this point. One is that Egypt as an empire was bigger than Egypt as a country today. So possibly Sudan, the modern day Sudan as a country, could have been part of the Egyptian empire. That way,
Yes.
we could have been Egyptian, same way South Sudanese were just Sudanese before. Or the second hypothesis is that we indeed moved from the current day Egypt down south to Gaza. Which one do you think is the true version?
Egypt to Sudan.
So was Egypt bigger or did we
Bigger.
just move?
Bigger.
Okay.
Egypt was bigger.
Okay.
So you're asking me Padola.
Yes.
Padola is a place where Jo Padola live. Jo Padola, Jo means people of Adola. Jo Padola. And our grandfather was called Padola, who could not move, who could not continue with his journey with his brother to Kenya. So he remained here. History has it that, or our great-grandfathers told us that even the sons of Owiny used to cross and come and see those days. But when time went on, things changed, and I think they were taken over by events. They stopped coming, stopped visiting each other.
So you say that up to this point in around Tororo, there were brothers. There
were two brothers who
Padola and the Wing.
and Owiny, who earlier came here. But there are other groups of laws who kept on following the routes of Owiny and Padola.
Okay.
You'll talk about the Abasuba who were mixed up by the Sam. You talk about the Jok Omolo who came through Sudan like that. Teso from here, Molo. They're the ones who named the people of Okumu. Okumu, because Okumu got married to Annie Tesot woman. So when they came, they were asking Okumu ni kune, Okumu ni kune, Okumu tie kune, and the women were saying Okumu mam, meaning Okumu is not. Okumu had died by that time. Okumu mam means not there in Ateso.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And then that led to Kumam.
To Kumam. Oh, Meju Kumam wakad, Meju Kumam.
So that's the Kumam of Kabe
Yes.
Maido.
The place called Kaber Maido, this place is good for genets. That's the meaning.
Okay.
Yes, Maido is genets. Hey, Ka is...
Kaber.
Yes, Ka, Ber. Ber is good, you know.
Yes.
That's law.
Yeah, sure.
But when somebody writes, will write for you that is it Kavira, Simbu, Kavira Maidos. the Kakunguru version called it Kabila Maido. Because for them, they are not laws. They couldn't write the way we can write that Kaber Maido. And indeed, up to date, the place is good for genets. You go there, you harvest genets like nothing.
Okay. And you just touched on Kumam, which, in my understanding, is that the Kumam is somewhere in between the Teso and the Luo. And a Luo guy called Okumu,
The brother of Owiny who went to
brother of
Kenya.
Owiny,
Yes.
okay, married a Teso woman.
Yes.
And what we have today is a mixture of Luo and Teso. linguistically and also in terms of and genetically.
Yes, because of the number. You know, the Luo language almost lost there because the majority of people there were Itesots. You can imagine, okay, after your death, it's now your wife behind with the children. Which language are they speaking? An example, eh? If your mom was a Muganda. Let me take an example like that. Was a Muganda. You are a Luo. You bring the Muganda. Oh, okay, okay, okay. You bring a Muganda woman rather. By bad luck, God forbid you pass on. You leave your children when they're still young. Which language are they going to speak?
Possibly the language of the mother.
So it's just by luck that the Luo language is strong. That's why they had tried to maintain. They, like for them, they will say Jonyual to mean parents. Then they will say Idwe. Jonyual, Jonyual Joweo Idwe. Meaning the parents leave children. The parents are not taking care of children. You see that? It's just a mixture of the Luo language and then the Ateso.
Yeah, I'll come back to Padola, but let me first ask one more question about Kumam. In your perspective as Japadola, are the Kumams Luo or Teso?
They are Luos because of their ancestor called Okumu.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'll be back to Adola and the brother Owin in Tororo region. Then Owin proceeds to Kenya.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
In your perspective as Japadola, are the descendants of Owin the current day Luo of Kenya?
They are. There are many groups. As I told you earlier that during the war in the current place Sudan, when Chua Ole the Great died, his firstborn, Rukid, was supposed to have taken over as a king. In Luo norms, those days, I don't know today because of been affected by the Western world, that when you die, it's your firstborn who takes over
The throne.
the throne as a heir. In this case, Chua was the king. Rukidi was the firstborn. Rukidi means somebody born next to Kidi. Do you know Kidi?
Okay. Yeah, the stone.
Yeah, the grinding
The
stone.
grindstone. Okay.
When you go to Buganda, you go to Western Uganda, you'll get the Rukidi names who are kings. And somehow, uh, people who know come out and say, yes, we are Luos, but now we are Bantus. And people who don't want to know the truth will say, it's not possible. How comes? Then do you know how I challenge them? I ask them, okay, tell me the meaning of Rukidi. What does it mean in you? And then they get stuck. So it was Rukidi who was supposed to be the king. Olum, who was in charge, army. They had their small army, you know. Because as you move, you guys should have fighters. You have to fight for space.
Yeah, you have to fight for
Yes,
space and
yes.
food and
Yeah,
every resource.
they had their people who were so much strong in fighting. And it was Olum in charge. The last born. Now when he died, when the father died, he became wild and said, no, I have to be the king because I have everything that it takes. And that's how he started fighting and even killing anybody who opposed him. That is how Rukidi and his daughter called Nyathul ran the other side of Bunyoro to form the Jobito dynasty. And that's how these other people, Onyango, who later went to West Nile, where you get the Aluru people, who speak like the Jolu and the Jopadola. That's how Olum is left alone with some of his people there, with somebody called Opodo, who was lame because he fell down and he became lame there. And so Okumu, Owin, Adola, and Kadhirondi, there's a place called Kazirondi in Tanzania. Kadhirondi came in like this. It is Owin and Kadhirondi who crossed here, went. But when the movement was so much tough, Owin had to let Kadhirondi go off. because there was a chief who came, an Arab, who came and said, you people, you're suffering, but I can give you something. Can you give me a strong boy I take home? So they had to leave Kadhiron to go to Tanzania. That's why you have a place called, you call it what? There's what you call Tanzania. Is it Kazirondo or where?
Oh, Kavirondo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is
Yes,
the
but you
original.
go, when you get there, you'll find laws.
Oh. Yeah, I just came from Tanzania before
Yes,
coming here. Yes,
you'll find laws there.
I found the Luo there.
Yes.
Okay, so in our history of the Luo of Kenya, a story is told where three leaders led the people to Kenya. One was Jok, one was Owiny, and one was Omolo. And so we documented our migration
Owiny
in
was the
terms of.
first person
Oh,
to get there.
okay. So
These
do you have
other,
an idea about the
this,
Jok Owiny and
the,
Jok and Jokomolo?
Joko and Jokomolo. The Joko came from this way, Jokomolo came from this other side. These ones came from Binyoro. After Rukidi, they kept on moving. They formed the kingdom in Buganda. Because there's somebody called Kitu, the grandson of Rukidi, who came to Buganda. The Baganda call him the first Muganda. They now call him Chintu because they cannot say Kitu.
Okay.
Then the wife was called Nam. You know Nam in Luo?
Uh-huh.
Yes. The wife was called Nam. The Baganda called that woman Nambi. Even when you ask from where did Nambi come, they'll tell you, she came from heaven.
So, Padola,
It is the Jokowini who went there first with his group.
Followed by.
But the Joko also followed, and then lastly the Jokomolo went there, following the routes of Owiny.
Okay.
And that's how they settled to form the Luo.
Oh. Now, in your history, you recognize three groups: Owiny, Omolo, and Jok.
Or Jok, yes.
Unfortunately, we don't recognize the other groups that remained behind. We only documented our presence in Kenya as a single entity, and we didn't capture the other groups that left. But I hope we can be able to change this. The people who are responsible for the publications of the books and the people who are in the education sector, it's a challenge for you to redocument the Luo history. Now, if I have to ask you again, it's your video that got us here, and I believe that working in the radio, you, to a greater extent, work with Padola music, as I was informed before. Is this true?
Yeah, it is.
Could you walk me through some of the Padola music instruments, the music instruments of Joe Padola?
The music instruments, we always have a long drum. We call it fumbo as the major instrument. Then we also have horns. They are, okay, we could call them trumpets. Guara. We have guara, then we also have jingle bells, milege. We call them milege. We also have costumes that we use, made out of sisal, made out of banana fibers, made out of banana leaves, and made out of animal skins. Then we also have small drums that we use according to what we shall be celebrating. When we are celebrating the death of a legend, somebody big, maybe a warrior, we use small drums. We call them okelo. We named them okelo because that person brought okelo silwanye, okelo bero, okelo. So we go and drum that okelo. There are two small drums. We also have another big drum. There are always two. We call them a chiel. When a big person has passed on, maybe an old person, we drum. But there are particular clans with those drums here. The royal clans of Padola, they have those drums, and they are also drummed when when they're about to bury.
Okay.
And then we also have these ones, harps.
okay.
Tongol.
How do you call harps in
Tongol.
the Padola? Tongol.
Tie, tongol, gadungu.
Oh, I would like to see these instruments.
Yeah, you're going to see them.
Okay. Anyway, because you talked about music and you work as a journalist, I bet you know a number of Padola musicians, right? Now, how do you call the type of music that's played by your Padola? I'll give you a hint. In the Luo of Kenya, we have Ohangla, which we think of as the traditional music, traditional type of music that we have. So if someone talks about Ohangla, we know that's music very specific to the Luo. Thum is music in general, but Ohangla is a type of music that's very specific to the Luo. So how do you call that type of music that's specific to
We have
your
thum and
Padola?
then we have fumbo. Then fumbo, fumbo is also divided into different parts. The dances. We have a kisil that is, it is drummed when you're celebrating. I mean, it is a victorious dance. Then still under fumbo. Then any other music also call it thum.
Oh, okay. So thum is a general term.
Yeah.
Now, I bet you work closely with the certain musicians, and the reason why I'm here is under the bigger blanket of Luo unity or reunification. Have you ever thought of letting these musicians know that they are much needed to cross the border and perform in other Luo regions? Have you ever thought along this line?
In 2019, that was May, I carried a team here
Oh, where did you go to?
who want to go to Ramogi.
And played music there?
Yes, we did. We went to Ramogi and were celebrating. We danced there.
Was it an event?
Ramogi Festival.
Oh. Hey, the Luo of Kenya. Is there anyone who attended this Gotramogi festival where we had the Padola musicians playing there? I wasn't there, but I really wish I was. But next time, I have to. So you already have programs, people celebrating and playing music and dancing on the other side.
Yeah.
Now, what's your take on Luo reunification? Is it a pipe dream? Is it a possibility?
It is a possibility, but our people were supposed to drive this passionate about it anyway.
I think it's us.
It is.
It's us.
It's now us to do it.
Yes.
Yes. It normally starts like this, and we get there. I know it's a hard thing. You can imagine you traveled to Tanzania, you came back, you're here, and we have to do it. We just have to go like that. With the time, it will be there.
Yeah, we
I
can start
know.
with the influential people. We can start with the musicians. We can start with the leaders. And then everyone else will join the bandwagon because a journey of 1,000 miles has to start with a step.
Like I have a song called I Am a Luo,
Okay. Is it...
a black Jew from Africa. With a bit of history, I counted all those gallant sons and daughters of Luo, gallant Luo sons and daughters of the world in that song. It's just some small English and the Padola. But when you listen to it, every Luo listens to it and likes it. When you go to Gulu, that song is played. You go to Lango, you cross the other side of Aluri, the song is there.
and when
It is
you...
a signature tune in most of these radio stations.
How? Okay, and when you work at the radio station, do you play Kenyan Luo music?
I used to receive calls from Kisumu and Nairobi, my brother.
Oh.
Yes, I used to. There's this man, Onyi Jalama. Do you know Onyi
Raila
Jalama?
TB,
Yes.
TB, okay, yes.
Then the later Acheng Mori,
Chingobura.
who sang, who was like, if God gives you a bicycle, never underlook at someone walking on foot.
I'm not sure if
She's in some prophetic song. She's called Morina Cheng, the late
Lady Maureen.
Yes, Lady Maureen.
Maureen. Oh,
yes,
yes.
Lady Maureen.
Uh-huh.
Her songs and many of them there. Yes. What?
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I'll ask the Luo journalists in Kenya, do you ever play uh, your Padola music? I bet not. But you can, still here. Now, could you, what can you tell to the Luo of Kenya, more so the young people?
Um, I'm just going to give them a message to all the Luos who might be having a chance of watching or viewing this, that the Luos were not born to trail. It is by mistake that we are trailing. Because if you see us, we are full up to those places. You follow our roots, and we are the ones who formed all these kingdoms in Uganda. You cross there, the same. You go to Tanzania, you go to West Africa, it's the same story. But we are here trailing. It is because we are not united. It's just because we are not united. We fear to get united. So my message to the young people, let's think beyond our courtyard. There are chances here. A Luo could come and do something here. A Japadola would cross and, like, I want to come and launch that I Am Olo song from Kisumu. Yes, I feel that when I come there, I should be welcomed. By the way, just to remind you before I forget, do you know Madanji Perimeter?
Yes.
Tell him about me.
Well, anyone watching this, or if Madanji Perimeter is watching this,
We did a Luo what? A Luo night in Kampala. Those guys crossed. I collected Luos from Sudan, from Gulu, from wherever, northern Uganda. Wine Centenary Park. For 2 days, we're doing Luo night.
is there another Luo night here around? Room 27?
Like on Saturday, there's going to be a Luo festival in Kampala, in Hilltop.
Okay. That's what I told you. So I know
Yes.
about the Luo here.
So unity,
I will attend.
unity, and please, the other thing is about working hard. Let's always fight to create our own things as laws. Let's have something that
Wachinaga no gi Luo.
gimale wachama de juluo jema junitie ne waripo bedo gi gimoro mamiwa kwo makweno tich ji samudong kada nende wasomo bedo professors obedo doctors obedo juginango ka ongo gi tich ma watimo mamiwa kwo walengo e kony fod le nyero wan wakile bedo gi men ile bedo gi men kitie kod gi perin moluongi nyingin minyalo kidho kwanyo ti oro mena gima mitwayo gine juluo ni watimu tich pa kada ni somo mitundu kune kingo gi per moluongi nyingin bedo gimara soki dikni bedo doctor bedo professor tito iduokin iduoko Homa Bay iduoko kwa Paya iduoki ni kono Kazirondo ti iteri ni ot lum ikigeto kada geto moro motire sano kintie Nairobi tie Kampala itie kono Gulu City initie Sudan itie Juba ibedo dhano maduong' sa tek wabido kod gimoro bende pecho akabe wang'e wiye pecho wang'e win kama wuok iye wachne ke a strong person will always be strong if he knows where he came from wang'e kama wuok iye ujupadolo wuok kuna kaido chau bene julu wuok kuna
Erokamana foyo. I'll say the same thing in Luo. Juluo watiuru matek, wasom matek, gimora mora mitimo tim matek. Tipare dala. Kikiti Nairobi, kikiti Dar es Salaam, kikiti Kampala, to dala rach. Kein gi od lum dala, dhi gerot maber, wabed jomo chanore, tiyo matek ema kelo keyo, jakinda ema keyo. And that brings me to a question. There's a struggle between progress and way of life, our traditional practices. For example, Odlum. Which way? Do we go the Western way of building, or do we stick to the Luo way of building?
We can. It's okay to progress, but I don't think it's a bad thing to have your odd loom.
This is what I think.
It's not bad because it shows us, like me, I want to go and construct my own loom at home. I want to preserve the heritage of my grandfather. Why don't they do that? If you know, can you construct something? Have something like a museum in old loom. This is the kind of a seat that my grandfather used. This used to be his spear. Keep it there, and please write them in Doluo. This is Tong, Com, what. That's what we have to do.
We have the responsibility to preserve the culture and the tradition. We're going to have a last word to you. You're a journalist, and I would say it is your responsibility to keep the fire burning. And because you're a journalist, you are at a better position to reach the masses. Preach Luo reunification, preach Luo progress, preach one Luo, one people. Do you have a parting shot?
It's a hard thing. I remember when I started, what inspired you to come and look for me? I was fought. Thank God I'm still alive. You know, it is a sacrifice. I sacrificed a lot to bring out Padola to be known out there. The Keluo came here, I remember. It was because of this young man, the late. I sacrificed a lot. But I thank God for one thing, that even if you sacrifice and it goes 100 years, that sacrifice doesn't go unrewarded. You know, like you're sacrificing now, but the people will come up and say, it is us who did this. In fact, it was us. If it wasn't us, but God knows that it's you. Yes, it is all about sacrificing. If you want the Long United Organization, the Luo, that's how I call it. LUO, Long United Organization, the Luo. We have to sacrifice and be strong and say, come what may. Whatever comes in front there, we are ready to face it.
Amen.
Yeah, time came when I had a lot of enemies because I was just speaking like a bit of history that I told you. Tell me about someone who's a non-Luo. Would really love to hear that. But it is all about, you said, no, I'm going and I am going, and this is what we want. We are able. The Luos are able. It's just because we have not yet. Maybe nobody is opening our eyes and ears. But here we are. We are saying, Luos, wake up and let's be the Luos.
Okay. Nyinga Kogot Peter and Luo Makenya Erokamano.
Ocheng Okoth Olunga Nyakwar Kere Luo.